Welcome back to Washington Journal. We are in open forum and we will take your calls very soon. You can start calling in now. While you're calling, we're going to speak with Representative Betty McCollum, a Democrat of Minnesota and ranking member on the Appropriations Subcommittee. Welcome, Congresswoman McCollum.
Good morning.
Just want to start with your reaction to the president's speech yesterday.
It was disappointing, it was disheartening, and I thought a lot of it was just plain dishonest.
Can you be more specific?
Well, it was disheartening in the fact that the president took a posture of anger, being frustrated. That's not what we want to hear from our president. We want to hear solutions. We want to know that he is paying attention to what is happening in our district. So that was disappointing. And you know, the frustration that was in his voice the entire time, the anger that was in his voice, the misdirection, blaming someone else for what's happening today in the present was just totally uncalled for. My constituents, they know that the cost of their health care is going to go up. Many of them can't afford to either sell their house because someone can't afford to buy it, move into a smaller house to create a housing opportunity for a new family, or afford basic rent after getting their first job. And then the whole issue about prices going up. I'm in Minnesota. We're farm country, and we still are seeing grocery prices be higher than we would like them to be. And then you add the holidays and trying to Christmas shop on top of it. The president was tone deaf about what's going on in the economy. And then, of course, there's health care.
Well, let's talk about health care. 4 of your Republican colleagues signed a discharge petition yesterday, forcing a vote on a 3-year extension of Obamacare subsidies. What's your message to those 4 and to the other Republicans that are not on board with that?
Well, I try never to question anybody's motives, but I have to be honest here. It was too little, too late. We should have done this in November and moved a discussion forward with the Senate that was sincere and honest about addressing some of the things that should be fixed in the Affordable Care Act, but focusing on making sure that everyone could afford health insurance. I talked to a small business person who was in my office just yesterday, and we were there to talk about his business. And I said, this just happened on the floor. Some Republicans joined in and signed this discharge petition, which allows for a vote in January. And he said, that's too late. He said, I had to pick out a plan. And he and I talked about people we know who are going without insurance at all because they can't even afford the most basic plan.
Now, Republicans make the argument that the ACA is a broken system and it's not working for Americans, and why should we continue to throw good money after bad? What's your response to that?
Will you tell the people who have had cancer surgeries, the people who don't have medical debt anymore, the parent who doesn't worry about taking their child in for a strep test, that it's broken? What I'm hearing from people is, if there's things that need to be fixed on it, talk to us about what's working and then work on what isn't. One of the things that they say is that the costs are just prohibitive. Well, explain to somebody how, on average, the Affordable Care Act had a 5% health care raise increase. I'd like to see that go lower. Love to work with people on that. But what a lot of people are facing right now is, 25, 30% raise in their insurance, and it's not covering as much as it did the previous year. That's what's broken, not having insurance available to families. And that's what's happening right now.
And lawmakers will point to health insurance companies who they say are gouging the consumer. What's your reaction to that? And is there something that, what's Congress going to do about that if that is the case?
If there is waste, fraud, and abuse in Medicaid, Medicare, and our health insurance system, get to work and hold hearings on it. Bring the insurance companies in here. They have the gavel. They could have been doing this the whole time since last January. They could have been having hearings on how we can work together if insurance companies are gouging consumers, gouging the government. Let's do some hearings. Let's do our job. Let's do the oversight. None of that happened. So it's frustrating to me that I hear about all these problems that they want to fix, Well, then let's fix them. But first you have to honestly address the problem, have hearings, have the experts in, and see what we can do. Instead, I just hear about let's repeal the whole Affordable Care Act, let everybody's health care crash, and then maybe we'll do something about it. I'm not going to do it that way. I want to fix the system where it needs to be fixed, but I want to do it in a responsible way that doesn't put, Americans in a bind without any health insurance for them or their families.
Can you talk about some of your ideas to fix the system?
Well, one of the things that we need to do that I worked on, I was here when the first Affordable Care Act was passed, was payment reform. Paying those doctors, those hospitals that actually provide great quality care at a lower cost, which Minnesota and 17 other states do. Instead, there are many states that are rewarded through Medicaid and Medicare payments at rates where they don't have as good outcomes. So why is that? How do we make the outcomes better for families, for individuals, and at the same time reward those who can do that at a lower price? We've failed to do that. That's just one example and something I'm prepared to work on.
And speaking of working on something, this will be it for the House this week. They are going to be ending their session. What are your priorities for next year?
Well, my priorities for next year is to work with my Republican colleagues, especially on the Defense Committee, to do some serious oversight about what's going on in the Caribbean. I think what we are doing down there is unlawful. We had 2 votes on the floor to pass a War Powers Act, which would have Congress be more involved in what the president is doing with our military and pre-positioning it. These boat strikes that are happening where people are drowning at sea after our military does a hit. Before, with no danger to our military at all, we should have gone in and we should have attempted a rescue. And this whole thing about putting up blockades, I'm on the Defense Appropriations Committee. I'm the ranking member. I've asked time and time again, how much is this costing? What isn't happening because of the president doing this? Where are we not doing our preparedness? Where are we not supporting our NATO allies and helping Ukraine? What is driving up the cost of our munitions and everything is some of these adventures that the president is going on, putting our military at risk and putting our economics base at risk with not providing the full cost of what, and I'm going to call them adventures he's doing, because if he was serious about informing Congress and having Congress be a partner as we should be as an Article 1, he would release the second tape so the American people can see for themselves.
Representative Betty McCollum, Democrat of Minnesota, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you.